The 49ers just cooked up a, quote, schematic advantage against the Rams. We're going to be talking about that in this video. Plus, we're going to be talking about a player really coming into his stride and an important welcome back to another player coming back from injury. Hit subscribe if you're looking for 49ers content like this. Appreciate you guys to the moon. You're awesome. And I got a question for you. If one player could absolutely go off this Sunday and give the Niners a great chance to win, who is that one player? Who would that be for you? You'll hear my answer later in the video, but I think, and I look forward to your thoughts for sure, but I think there are a lot of good answers to this question. If you could just like magically make one player go off, when I think about the game against the Rams before, right? Like the Alfred Collins moment, one of the best moments of the season still to date, that would be one of those moments, right? You just say like Alfred Collins is just going to go off and they're not going to be able to run the ball, right? Or something like that, right? The 4th and 1 stop is another example that was an important moment in the game. So you could go direction of like pass rush. We were not getting after Stafford. He threw for over 300 yards. It'd be nice to go that direction. You could also say Mac Jones superhero. Like I want him to just go off. Like who's that guy for you? If one player could just go off, that would give us a great chance to win. Who would that be? I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say about that in just a moment. But let's start off with the schematic advantage. Now, this probably won't surprise you because I've already told you on this channel how the special teams have gotten so good and they're top 5 in the league right now and all that stuff. But something that Robert Saleh just said kind of surprised me. Like it really like caught me off guard. Like he went out of his way to say some really good things. Also some surprising things mixed in there too. So let's start this off. And we got other stuff to get to, other players coming back from injury, all sorts of good stuff. But I want to start with this guy, Robert Saleh, talking about that guy, Brant Boyer. Here's what he said.
Yeah, no, Brant's been in this league a long time, and I'd be lying if I knew anything about him when I got to the Jets, but I feel like I got a million phone calls talking about how great this guy was, and he's pretty good. So he's detailed in how he approaches the game. He's his film study and his game plans and his schemes are, while like he's a guy that definitely from a special team standpoint will push the envelope in terms of scheme and technique, and once those guys get it, I feel like we're at a schematic advantage with him and how he does things, and you know he's pretty fun to watch from a meeting standpoint, funny too, but when it comes to being detailed and making sure that everybody knows exactly what's being asked of him and how to do it, he's as good as they get.
There you go. As good as they come. A schematic advantage. High praise. Very, very high praise from Robert Saleh on Brant Boyer. And he's not wrong. The 49ers have absolutely performed at high levels in special teams, and it's only gotten better. The trajectory has been up all season long, which is great. And when you look at the preview of the 49ers versus the Rams, that is pretty much the only area. There's technically one other area, which would be the rush defense versus the Rams rush offense, Technically, that's a matchup in favor of the 49ers, but that's about the only spot where you see a favor for the 49ers in that special teams, where you've got Green for the 49ers and number 4 right now in special teams EPA throughout the season against the number 31 special teams EPA. The only problem with this, and I'm not telling Robert Saleh that he's wrong, because he's right, and we're going to kind of get back into that in a second. But the only problem with this is so much of this EPA is determined by one individual, and his name isn't Brant Boyer. His name is Eddie Money. Eddie Pinheiro has been playing lights out, and I say problem because I've put hope in a kicker before, and I've been found wanting. And I think you know what I'm talking about many times. And there's more than one guy with that story, right? But Eddie Pinheiro's been incredible. That is definitely a huge part of the puzzle. And I think what made this interesting to me is the phrase that Robert Saleh unprompted chose to use to call it a schematic advantage. And not just talking about the Rams, like in general against the NFL. He was speaking in general terms. So Brant Boyer and what he's bringing to the special teams is even better than what we're seeing necessarily on just watching the game live on Sundays. So that has my ears perked up. I'm real interested in that. I've been watching kick returns this year and feeling like I don't understand why our kick return team seems to like 35 yards is a guarantee when we kick off to you. It's a guarantee. We're going to drop the ball. Even when Eddie Money will drop the ball inside the 5-yard line, or there's been a couple times we dropped it at like the 1 or 2, which is kind of the best place you could possibly drop it. And they still get to the 35, it seems, for free. Like, you don't have to do anything. Just run the ball straight and you'll get to the 35. So that's a little bit of a thing for me that I'm still like not 100% sold on. But I'm excited to hear Robert Saleh being this optimistic about Brant Boyer and what he's doing. And we're obviously seeing a huge change, and it has to be more than just the kicks. You got kickoff, you got punt returns, all of that stuff factors into that. Punting this year, we've actually been pretty decent in punting, so that's a nice thing there. You got rid of Mitch Wisnowski, which had its criticism around it, but we're making moves right now, and the special teams is an area where we're standing out, and that's an interesting thing to keep in mind, is because this team with all the injuries is going to have to play complementary football, and if you have a good special teams and you can get your defense to play decent and you can get your offense to start playing more elite, all of a sudden you've got a chance to do something in this league despite all of the injuries. That's how I feel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on that one for sure. But something that Robert Saleh talked about, in addition to talking about Brant Boyer, was this guy, Renardo Green, who, of course, Robert Saleh did not draft. He was drafted last year, and he had an outstanding 2024 with some big ups and downs, as any rookie season will give you. However, overall, way impressive in what we were not expecting to have to get out of Renardo Green at times behind like Travarius Ward, for example. And he played really well. And then he came into this season, came back from injury, and was a little bit rough and shaky to start. But it's only gotten better from here. Here is what Robert Saleh said about Renardo Green's improvement over the past month. He's had a really good last 3 weeks where he's taken a big step. He missed some time in training camp, so I think he got off to a slow start, but he's been deliberate. He's been working, and I'm excited about the trajectory of Renardo's on for sure. Couldn't agree more. Green is allowing just 13 yards a game over the last 4 weeks. That's an average I can live with. That's an average I'm down with. Let's go. There's a couple tough games mixed in there, like the last few games. Also, we got to welcome back Bryce Huff, coming back from injury. Could not come at a more important time. We're going to get, of course, very, very important injury news in just a few hours' time from Kyle Shanahan, because a lot of guys are on the injury report. Some guys like Alfred Collins who weren't on that injury report that I'm a little worried about. I'm hoping these were just rest days. We've seen the Niners do that this season where guys – they won't call them rest days. I'm calling them rest days, where you see like Dominic Puni has a little bit of a knee thing. He takes a day off, and he's a full participant the next day. So not really that worried about Dominic Puni because he was just a full participant, right? So I'm hoping that we're going to get a similar situation tomorrow. Christian McCaffrey's had some of those days, but most of them are usually like vet days, so it doesn't really count. But guys showing up on injury reports is definitely scary. Bryce Huff coming back is also scary for a different reason. John Lynch said on KMBR this morning that Bryce Huff, or yesterday morning, has been better than advertised. Do not discount the fact that this defense played its best post-Bosa and Warner game when Huff was last available versus the Falcons, says David Lombardi. That's a fair point. Huff is a difference maker whom the 49ers traded for, which is, he's just giving people a hard time for all of the hate on deadline day. But whatever. The point is still true. The point is totally accurate. Bryce Huff has been enlightening to this football team. And for a team that's having to find a way to do this without Nick Bosa and now without Mykel Williams, you desperately need some serious quality at the edge, someone who can pass rush. And this is not what we called Bryce Huff in to do. We did not call him in here to be a 3-down edge rusher, but he's going to have to be. He's going to have to be more of a versatile player, and he's going to have to produce at a high level because we desperately need him to be successful. And he can. We've seen him be successful, so I'm excited about that. That's great for him. Somewhat related, Robert Saleh talked about the blitzing frequency yesterday in his press conference. Houston, I'd like to have that one back. I probably nudged it a little bit too far on that one, talking about how often he was blitzing and blitzing just a little bit too much. Points out that he backed off against the New York Giants, and it worked. The key difference between those two games, 49ers had Keon White and Cleveland Ferrell for New York, and they were devoid of pass rushers by the end of Houston. So, you'll take that for what it is. I think what Robert Saleh is telling you is that percentage of where he likes to be at in terms of how often he likes to blitz. And I think some of this has to come down to the quarterback you're playing against. CJ Stroud handled the blitz very, very well. He knew who his hot route guy was. He knew how to play every single one of those blitzes. It looked like, honestly, it reminded me of a Tom Brady kind of thing. The passes were not 15, 20 yards downfield. They were 4, 5, 6 yards downfield. They were dump balls. They were check downs, and that's how C.J. Stroud handled it. He knew exactly what to do when the blitz came. They anticipated a lot of blitzes, and they handled it like a champ. And that's why the 49ers did so poorly against the Houston Texans, because if you blitz a quarterback who can pick you apart with the space that you leave available, then your blitzes become really dangerous decisions. And it did not work out well for the 49ers against the Texans, and they have adjusted accordingly. So I think that tells you what to expect from Robert Saleh and this defense going forward, that you're going to expect a team that is going to blitz less than it against Houston, which was in the 30% range, if I'm not mistaken. And you're going to see a team that's going to be blitzing kind of more in that 15 to 25 range. So I don't know if that helps you. I don't know if that's something that enhances your viewing experience. But for me, it definitely gives me context when I see blitzes do happen. I kind of have a little bit of a framework for how often I should be expecting it, and therefore what Robert Saleh is really trying to do and how he's choosing to take those risks when he does it. We're 2 days away against the Los Angeles Rams. What's up? It's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you guys have a great Friday today, and we'll be back again tomorrow for another video ahead of the big game.